Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. Katta Mapes joining us here, our friend, our author, our teacher, our educator, and so much more. How are you doing today, darling? And how was your Thanksgiving?
I'm doing great. Had a good one. How about you?
It was fantastic. Nice and relaxing. Got to spend some time with the family, and I hope you get to do the same.
I did, yeah. Well, I went to my neighbors. My family don't live in town, so.
That's right. You mentioned that last time, but you had a good time. Great to hear it. So great to have you back. And would you mind just introducing yourself to our listeners to start?
Okay, well, I'm Katta Mapes. I live in Tucson, Arizona, and I am an intuitive life coach, among other things. What I'd like to talk about today is a broader topic.
Yeah.
I'm a member also of Tucson Paranormal Society.
Wow.
And I mentioned about my previous work helping with intrapersonal and interpersonal and transpersonal relations. And my seminal work is on creating conscious connections. Reach in and connect with yourself, reach out and connect with others, reach up and connect with the divine. And some people might think that some of these things are very different, but I think that there's a way to bring it all together. Because we're all humans, my belief is we're all energy. Quantum physics is showing that everything is energy. So it's a matter of how we understand ourselves as energetic beings and how we relate to others and the world around us in energetic terms and so forth. So with the Tucson Paranormal Society, let me ask you, what's the first thing you think of when you think of paranormal?
I think ghosts. I think spirits. That's what I think.
And that is very typical. People often just think of ghosts or UFOs and maybe cryptids, Bigfoot and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I expanded also to include things I've talked about before, intuitive arts, like divination with tarot cards or astrology, and just understanding spirit in all forms, always. So ghosts certainly are, one way that we connect with spirit.
Okay.
And in fact, I'm just writing up a little blog about paranormal and the broad extent of it. So some people are interested, you say ghost investigations, but related to that are haunted locations, haunted objects like the doll that's supposed to be haunted, the Annabelle doll and so forth.
Yes, I heard of that. Mm-hmm.
And then, so all of that has to do with a spiritual energy that is either beneficial or non-beneficial. So some people just love the ghost investigation shows where they investigate everything. But in my practice also, I've learned how to clear the energy. So if someone lives in a home where the energy is weird or anxious, or they have a ghost that they don't want around, or they have just a really
paranormal team.
bad feeling, or maybe things keep happening that are bad to them, that seem bad, difficult situations. It could be that there is some energy in the home or in the land beneath the home that is affecting them. And so it's always been my contention. It's one thing to investigate and another to clear up the problem. And there's many different ways to do that. So that's ghosts, but then UFO connections. Even the government's coming out with that. We're finding there's so much, and who knows with, new administration, if we'll find out, the truth is out there or whatever's going on. And that's, again, a different energy, a different type of energy. And then you have people's paranormal interests with cryptids, which are like Bigfoot or Dogman, shapeshifters, and that sort of thing. And there's all kinds of urban legends about Mothman and this this being and that being, and even elves and leprechauns and so forth. Those are all part of a maybe a different type of entity that we don't really know. And then there's also just a general interest in metaphysics, as I've mentioned before, with divination and understanding things. And then actually included with the ghost investigations, with my AI program, I asked it to make to categorize my whole list of paranormal.
Okay.
Kind of lumps the afterlife with that too, because if you're doing investigations, what is the afterlife all about?
Ooh.
So these ghosts or other entities. Not always; they could be from other dimensions and other places, but oftentimes they are a spiritual residue or an actual entity that has come back and appears as a ghost somewhere. So that has to do with the afterlife.
Okay.
So another book that I have written that I co-authored is called The Big Picture of Life.
Show us, show us.
Yes. And this was actually a co-authored book. Dr. Gary E. Schwartz is a professor at the University of Arizona in the Consciousness Lab. And he has spent a lot of time and money and energy investigating and finding ways to scientifically connect with what he calls the post-material world. Post-material, so right now we have a body.
That's okay.
And then cross over, we don't have a body, so it's post-material.
Okay.
And in fact, he was instrumental in starting a new organization called the Academy for Material Sciences.
Wow.
To bring together other professors and scientists to study this. And then the other co-author is Mark Pitstick, who's in charge of the Soul Phone Foundation.
What's that?
And
What's that?
Well, that is an organization that that explores also the afterlife and so forth. But he's been very instrumental in a group called Helping Parents Heal,
Okay.
where parents who've had children die, they with this organization to understand what happens after they die. There are mediums who help them have contact with their children to help resolve their concerns about, how their child is doing in the afterlife. So Gary and Mark had written a book called Greater Reality Living, and they knew that I was that I'd worked with young people, so they asked me to help adapt that book to one that is for teens and young adults to help understand this topic. I met both of them at a few different afterlife conferences in Scottsdale that are no longer being held, but there's a lot of interest in the afterlife and near-death experiences. There's an organization, for example, called the International Association of Near-Death Studies, or IANS, and they have a conference every year. And there's also other afterlife foundations and so forth where they are looking to figure out what happens after we die and put it into a scientific context to the extent you can. My belief is we won't know until we go, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. But this is fascinating. I'm all about this.
But now there is a book I may have mentioned before called Journey of the Soul by Michael Newton. He's a psychologist who had done a lot of past life regressions, and then he ended up doing life between life regressions. And in this book, he consolidates a lot of the commonalities that came through when he did this work. The things that over a 40-year period mentioned over and over again. And while not everyone's near-death experience is the same, he was able to look for the similarities and put that there. So that has opened up for me a greater understanding. Now, how this integrates with real estate, First of
Yes, by the way, we should mention the fact how you are connected with real estate. Would you mind explaining that aspect as well, Katta?
Sure. Well, one thing is I've become a certified probate real estate
Yeah.
agent. And basically, probate is basically when someone dies without a will. And it could also be related to the real estate needed for when someone does have a trust or a will. And there's different procedures because in those circumstances, certainly with probate, you have to go to the court, and the court has to appoint a personal representative.
Got it.
And so only that person can handle the real estate transactions, the realtor. And yet, on the other hand, if there's more than one beneficiary, there is there's a whole family of people to work with, oftentimes. And that can be difficult. I know one agent, for example, that recently, after after trying to sell a house, decided that he couldn't do it because there was one person in the family that was very difficult and very much
not easy to work with. Yes.
Yes. So that is one kind of connection with death in that that whether it's a will or trust, real estate or probate, it's helping families who are beneficiaries after someone has died. And in that case, you're not only dealing with the emotional aspects of selling that home, but also the grief and loss that people feel during that time that may or may not color their decisions. But then, going back to the paranormal aspect, I've thought about becoming available also for helping people that have some difficult energies in their house to clear it in different ways. I've learned how to do that. So, whether
sometimes on air like this, my screen glitches, and my producer says to me, "Something's going on," or it's not working, or the light flickers. So, I feel like I'm a big believer in that, and that it's like this energy's around. I don't know if because my mom, passed away in my house, in my home office. I don't know. It just is something that just gets me. I got goosebumps talking about it.
Yeah, well, that could be a residue. And in that case, it's not necessarily that she's there, but a residue of her vibration, her energetic signature, you might say, her energetic, composition. You can walk into a room, and if there's a lot of people arguing, even before you even know what's going on, you can feel that energy.
Yes,
it's
definitely.
Very distracting. Or likewise, if you walk into a room where there's, people are comfortable and happy, then you can feel that energy too. And that depending on how sensitive and empathic you are, can affect you positively or negatively.
Ooh. At this time, Katta, I just want to remind everyone how we can reach you here on the website. Would you mind sharing, again, best form if they want to email you, reach out to you? What do you suggest?
I think email is best. I don't have a website at this time. My email is Katta, Katta.mapes, MAPES, @gmail.com. Katta.mapes @gmail.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Let's continue with the paranormal talk and all this. This is even more than I knew. And I've talked to you quite a few times. This is all new to me. This is exciting, multitasking here, and let's continue.
I will just say, from everything I've said before, it's not really out of bounds, because when I talk about creating conscious connections, connecting with yourself also means connecting with who you are as a soul.
Yeah.
One time years ago, I went to a weekend workshop out in the country from here. And the whole time, all we did was ask each other, "Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?" And in the beginning, we came up with, "Well, I'm a son, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend," and then our different roles. Well, I'm a teacher, I'm this and that, and then finally, kind of taking away all those layers to get to the essence of who we are, and that essence is what we carry with us when we do die, when we do pass over to another dimension, another life. We, like I said, we don't know really till we go. So it's not that far-fetched. And then connecting with others is connecting also with, for example, with the soul of another person. People say that namaste means
Namaste, yes.
That means I honor the person within you or something like that. Although some people say it's just more of a greeting, I don't know, but it has to do with that idea. There was a long time ago, I saw a website called Know My Name, and I haven't found it anymore, but the whole premise that they tried to propose for this is, you go to Walmart, and there you are at the cashier, and that is a person. So know their name, say, hi, Jennifer, how's your day going or something, and connecting with each person, each individual, being part of the whole, because part of my belief is that we're all one, and we're all connected. We're all part of the source or the creator. And so in this life, we may have come in to different different bodies and different lives and so forth. But essentially, we're all the soul inside.
Wow.
So that is reaching out and connect to others. And then reaching up to connect to the divine. Well, reaching up, I mean, the divine is everywhere. It's not just up. But it has to do with that understanding that we are all one. So when we connect with ourselves, we can connect with our soul. When we connect with others, we can connect with their soul.
Yeah.
But essentially, connect with the divine means we're all one.
So
we are not, we individuate for this life, but we are all connected. So again, it goes back to what I said, that we're all energy.
And we really are.
And so it's that way of connecting.
Well, during, we've talked, quite a few times. I've gotten to know you, Katta, and pretty good judge of character. And you've had a fascinating, life. And you love teaching, you love educating, you love helping, you love children, and, you believe in that inner conscious. Can I just ask who kind of turned you on to this? Who inspired you to do the work that you're doing?
Well, there's different people. First of all, when I was in 1969, when people were going to Woodstock, I lived in Ohio, I went and spent a semester in Mexico. And there I had some interesting interactions with some different people. I met this one guy who worked at the library for the University of Jalapa. And he, at that time, Donovan's song about the Isle of Atlantis was out.
Yeah.
So he kind of trusted me, and he invited me to his house where there was a curandero who was channeling.
Oh my
so on an early age, well, even before that, I loved to read ghost stories and stuff as a kid. But that was, that kind of opened up to that idea of other worlds and so forth. And then for a while, I came in contact with a guru from India. He would come to Tucson periodically. And I learned simplified Kundalini yoga and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And then, because he was out of town, I kind of asked for a teacher to be here in town. And that's when I met the most prominent spiritual teacher of my life, Mary Ellen Burnett from Inner Wisdom. And she actually, I met her when I was working in a school as a counselor. The health aide introduced me to her when I mentioned I teach tarot classes.
Okay.
But it turned out that I had actually met her a couple of years before at a Dowsers meeting, and that was significant. I would remember it because we were learning how to bend spoons and stuff. So she told Rhonda, this mutual friend that we now have, that so Mary kind of bumped into me and touched my back and told Rhonda, well, she's one of mine, but I didn't know that. So I just said, excuse me, and I walked on. 2 years later, I ended up working with Rhonda and meeting my teacher, and very significant.
Ooh.
To do what I call metaphysical Christianity. We do all of the healings and everything in the name of Jesus Christ.
Wow. More goosebumps. Okay. Thank you so much for this. We still have plenty more time. Continue. Ooh, I got such goosebumps with this. Like, it's just things are so meant to be. And clearly, if you're a spiritual person believing in energy, things happen, right? Like this. And people come around, karma, and like things just happen that are meant to be in this world. And I've been watching Lost with my children. Did you ever see the show Lost?
No, I really.
But we've been just talking about this the other day. My kids are 7 and 9; they're little, but still, it's that whole how things are kind of meant to be, and there's a whole big grander plan from the energy and the universe. So it excites me. I love this conversation. All right, what else, Katta?
Synchronicity.
Yes, that's it.
Yes. In Spanish, they say "nada pasa por casualidad." Nothing happens by chance.
Wow.
So even free will, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I kind of got from the journey of the soul is that we might wonder, well, why is this happening to me? Why this and why that? And yet, this author with his presentation seems to. I mean, what I got from it was that before we're born, we make choices about which parents we're going to have, what types of experiences we're going to have, and I know this is not the standard definition of karma, but I believe that we make choices before we come into this life on the types of lessons we need. And there's some ideas about having a soul group that we come into this life with, and they're the ones that we're most connected with, and that help us learn our lessons, and we help them learn their lessons and so forth. And so even though it may seem like synchronicity or not by chance, it could be that somehow it was preordained, but we're not consciously aware of that.
Yeah.
So there's so much more to this world and all the dimensions that we don't. So in this Tucson Paranormal Society, we look at a little bit of it, but it's just the whole idea of the paranormal is basically trying to explain what is unexplained. And come up with assumptions and opinions and beliefs, but we won't know until we go. That's what I keep saying.
Oh my goodness! So, do I also call you then? Are you like do I call you a psychic? Do I call you a medium? Or how do I address
Okay, well,
you?
I have taken classes in mediumship.
Yeah.
We learned that there's a difference. A medium is primarily a person who's a go-between someone who's died and the living to communicate, to help communicate. And they're in the middle, the medium. A psychic has access to all kinds of information from different places, from their intuition, from other entities.
Okay.
Like I learned how to channel, and messages may come through when I'm channeling, but even when I'm writing and when I'm reading, I think a lot of it's kind of channeling from my higher self, from the person's spirit guides. And I don't know exactly who my spirit guides are, but I know a lot of times I will have an intuitive message, oh, turn this way or do that or whatever.
Yeah.
It was perfectly that I did that because something happened that I needed to have happened. And
Wow.
So in fact, when I have a problem with somebody, one of the practices I have is to ask my spirit guides to talk to their spirit guides to work it out. So that there's something happening maybe on another level that we can try to. So.
And by the way, where can we get your book from? We have to remind everyone.
That is on Amazon. It's called The Big Picture of Life.
Okay.
The authors, Katta Mapes, Mark Pitstick, and Gary E. Schwartz. And I'll show you that picture again.
Yes, please.
We had a wonderful volunteer who created all of the graphics. And because it is geared towards, basically towards young people, we have a lot of really interesting and appropriate graphics that would, help them to relate to this book.
Beautiful.
Then young adults, but we've had adults read it and say, "Wow,
Yeah.
Or with my other work, People say, I wish I knew that when I was younger.
It's so true, isn't it? It really is. Oh, my goodness.
Sounds like you're bringing up your kids with certain awareness.
Absolutely.
That's great. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much again for being here. And one more time, would you please share how we can reach out to you? Thank you.
Okay. My email is Katta, Katta, .mapes, MAPES, @gmail.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure having you here, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And I hope we get to speak again before the holiday. I mean, it's holiday season is upon us, right? Yay!
Yeah.
Exciting stuff, right?
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a fantastic day. And to all of our listeners, stay tuned. We'll be right back with more. Bye-bye, Katta.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, you know? I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.